Kia ora!
Kia ora!
Yay! Here are your Hype Aunties! And today we have a very special edition.
We're having a cup of coffee with the Hype Aunties, a cup of tea, really to review the 19 businesses we've been able to hype over the last 10 weeks. We're really excited.
Yeah, can you believe that it's been already 9 weeks that we've been doing lives every single week, featuring different businesses. And can you imagine how many businesses we got covered? 19 businesses. That's called impact.
Yeah,
Sarah.
it's very cool. I'm very stoked. So we've got lots of, we've kind of gone through and gone, well, what did we learn from all of this, and what can we share with you? So we are going to chat about that today. We've set a timer for 30 minutes. So whatever we don't get covered today, we do it next time, which is fine. There was 3 major things that we really wanting to share with you. So the first is that consistency in posting is a big deal. People talk about that a lot, and you really don't know like how much impact that has. But we have seen huge impact from the consistency of posting. The overall reach is pretty impressive. So like we said, we've done it for 9 weeks, and so far we have a pretty impressive reach and viewership across both YouTube and Facebook, which we're super surprised about when we reviewed it yesterday, of how that's added up, because we kind of review each campaign weekly, and we don't really add it all up over time until just now. So that's been very cool. What were our numbers, Auntie Manu?
So I want to say we are having our live today.
Oh yeah.
From the Hype Aunties, exactly for that reason, for the consistency that Auntie Sarah just mentioned, and us putting posts every single day and reaching out all the views that brought the followers that we needed to actually be live today. And the numbers are astonishing. We reviewed it, and can you believe it? So 9 weeks, going from 0 followers, and we still have 116 on Facebook and only 30 on YouTube. But the numbers, drum roll, 12,000 views on Facebook. Woo! 12,000 views, and on YouTube, 14,000 views.
So
9 weeks. Imagine what it can do for your business. Imagine the power of social media. We really proved that in a small space of time, if you put effort and energy into this medium, you can really reap the benefits, and you can tell a story, and you can get those hidden gems up in the light and tell those stories in an authentic way. And I want to say, we always said we are running lives, and an amazing part about running lives is that we can interact with you. So today this is not really possible because the camera is over there, so we cannot see if you are writing any comments or anything.
You'd be so impressed with how we MacGyvered this.
We did, yes. We are really creative about how to put the setup right,
yes.
so that you can actually have good sound, good views, and join us here today. But yeah, we're going down memory lane. We have 30 minutes. The timer is up, so we're not going too long, but we'll be going through all those gems, all those experiencing, revisiting the little bits and pieces that we visited and experienced, and the learnings. So Auntie Sarah, what was the first week? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. What I will say, just as the third of the top 3 that we wanted to cover, so consistency was awesome. Our overall reach was pretty impressive. And then we talked about, if you put in that work, we were both probably underestimating how much work it is. And we also want to add a sort of a 4th side note, which is overriding everything, which is we're really lucky to have each other, because the accountability that comes with knowing that Auntie Manu's waiting for me means I'm going to show up. And it also made us a little bit more brave and less judgmental of ourselves, and we didn't have that option to basically freak ourselves out by doubting ourselves and thinking, oh, I don't know how to do it, and we just made it happen very imperfectly, but together we did do that. So I couldn't recommend getting a buddy to help you accomplish this outcome if you're looking to do something similar. Enough. Like having a buddy that's going to be very pro, is going to hype you as you do it, but maybe you can do the same back to them, might be the way to get this done.
Yeah.
So we're very conscious. Everything we've done has been flawed and so imperfect, but
Perfectly imperfect.
Perfectly imperfect. And we've got this great outcome, not just for us and our little experiment, but also for 19 businesses already, which I'm stoked about. Okay, so...
And all the people that watched us, so thank you so much for being there with us, for all the comments, all the likes, all the shares. It's been really a journey, and it's amazing to share with you today.
So good.
Yeah, I also want to say a side note that we really put live into the next level because we made it a little bit more complicated or complex.
Oh yeah.
Because we like a good challenge, right?
We're learning as we go. And we didn't know any better.
It's much harder when you do lives that implicate collaboration with other businesses or going different places where connectivity might not be that good. When you do need some gear like lap mics because you are moving and doing things, but it can be simple. It can be done in the, by just turning on your camera, not too fast, not having all the editing, all the extra work that we put on ourselves just because we wanted to do and we wanted to implement an idea of presenting those different businesses, featuring them every week. So that means learning about each one and then creating something that will make it justice. It was, that was the extra work, but it can be done. It can be simplified, and yet you can reap the same rewards and the same benefits. So
yeah, maybe that's a good point to kind of go back a little bit and say the reason we're so passionate about exploring lives as an avenue for businesses to promote what they're doing is that we jump online and we see some lady weaving in Timbuktu in America with 14,000 people on her live. It's happening internationally, commenting, engaging, doing business together, and there's a lot of that we're not really making the most of here in Aotearoa yet, and we want our small and medium businesses to really explore all of the options so that we have the same advantages as all these other businesses internationally.
So make them visible.
Yeah.
Be in front of the people that you want to serve. Showcase your products and services in your own way and show, what is it about it? What is the magic that you're bringing up? What are you passionate? It comes through in the camera. It's very authentic.
Yeah.
It's not polished, but this is exactly what people love.
People like the realness of lives. And I also think that we are trying to take away some of the barriers in terms of people thinking, oh, I can't do that, I'm a middle-aged person or whatever, I'm not that good with the tech. Honestly, there's duct tape involved in today's session. There's a lot of MacGyvering. We've had sessions where we've worn the mics and haven't had the mics on. We've had so many things that haven't gone the way that we thought they should, but in the end we've posted the imperfect. And that is what's given us those results. So if you think, hey, if I could do a couple of months worth of lives once a week and a few posts out of those lives throughout the week to get 25,000 people to look at my business, it's totally worth it. And you could do that with way less work than we've put in. So if you were just doing similar setups to what we're doing right now, set up a camera, do some talk to the camera, while you work, potentially while they can view you and the business that you're in, there's nothing stopping you doing that, and it will get you way more eyeballs on your business, which will give you more sales. And who in this economy doesn't need a few more sales?
Yeah, and there is this concept of before you really need these followers in order to get in front of them and tell your story. But the game has changed, and social media is actually going for content, not followers, and we prove that because with such a small number of followers and subscribers on YouTube, we reached 26,000 views. 26,000 views! Like, we're talking in hundreds, and like, come on, it's totally doable. But let's go through memory lane. Let's
do a little
week
bit
by week and share the learnings. So that I wish that all our learnings can actually speed your journey forward.
That's what it's all about.
Don't repeat our mistakes.
No. 3 lessons right here. First thing we did was we went and we were so not ready. And that's probably the number 1 tip we have, is that do it before you're ready. You're not ready. Don't worry. No one's
counterintuitive.
Yeah, but don't worry, because no one's coming to your live. You're going to do the live, and like literally if someone jumps on by accident, they'll jump off real quick. So don't panic about that part, but it's actually getting the practice run in and like going through the process. We were so nervous. If anyone has the intention of looking back on our Morrinsville first live, we did the they have like a cow trail in Morrinsville.
The
herd of cows. And we thought that was really novel, and so we went out there and we did our first live. So we learned a lot. Our equipment is, we bought these lap mics. That's the one investment we've made. Before that, Manu has a tiny little selfie stick. It's very short, and it doesn't have any automation on the handle, so you have to still push the buttons on the phone itself. And we had no experience of doing any of this. And in the first live in Morrinsville, the most hilarious part was it's very difficult to be spatially aware when you're also trying to like focus on the camera and what you're doing in the camera. So 2 problems we identified right away is that it's really hard for both of us to be in shot all the time. So we had to walk around Morrinsville like Siamese twins. And also like we nearly got run over several times during that first live. And we were just like really new to the whole concept of like what it looks like, what it feels like, walking through town where there's lots of people around and on your selfie stick. Like, it's very different. And also Morrinsville's not that up with the play, so it's something probably they haven't seen a lot of.
It was a novelty for sure. And it was so difficult to keep us in the frame. Imagine, we still had the portrait view, now we shifted, but that's our learning that came down the track. And I was holding the stick, so you are on the distance and your hand is shaking and you're trying to get the 2 of us that are holding on to each other for dear life and trying to survive while crossing the road, the street, and seeing all those beautiful cows, so you're lost for words every now and then, but you still need to keep going. It was just a novelty. It was quite an interesting. I was exhausted by the end of it. When it ended, we were
so draining. So we definitely right away identified like the long lives, not doing them that long. So we straight away cut the time. That was one of the early lessons. But Morrinsville was fun. It got us through those really early nerves because we really genuinely had them. So I think almost everyone I talk to about doing video is like, I don't like being on camera. I don't like seeing myself or hearing myself on camera. Well, neither do we. Like, honestly, we don't either. Our goal in life is not to become influencers online. But our goal in life is to help small businesses. And one of the things that's going to help small businesses like yours is using the tech available to you to cut through the noise and get some eyeballs on your business. And this is the tech that does it. There's hundreds of ways to do it. And we were very nervous going into that first round as well. But it turns out bugger all people come to your first one, so you don't need to freak out.
We had one.
Yeah, we did.
At the end, at the very end of the live, we saw this little eye popping up and saying the number 1. I was like, oh my god, we have a viewer! And then he left. I was like, oh my god, I should have just shut my mouth, enjoy the moment that someone was there with us. And that's it. But there was another funny moment. Do you remember the moment where we were going towards the huge giant cow and my
family drove past? So one of my nieces, I have like 38 nephews and nieces, and one of my nieces and her family drove past, and they're all hanging out the window going, "Hey, Auntie!" And I was like, because it's our first day being Hype Aunties, and we were like, that is so classic. But yeah, so that was the best bit of that whole thing. We had a friend actually join us that was taking photos of us and stuff.
Thank you, Navina. Thank you for your support for the very first live.
And honestly, like, it was all of those little things where we kind of just said, right, and we're going to meet here. We've got a theme, which was our herd of cows, and we had a very loose plan. And we thought we had the tech sorted, and honestly, like, the tech did not work as expected at all. And we didn't really understand how we were going to get ourselves both in shot. We had the camera facing the wrong way. We learned later. But we still did it. That got us over the line. So now it wasn't our first anymore, right? So then we moved the following week. Who did we do week 2?
Yeah, week 2 we went in the Hamilton City Centre and we visited the different murals. So
we did
it
all
was
those
a street
murals.
art week. And I loved that one. It was a very special one for me because this is the first thing that I noticed when I moved to Hamilton, that it has so much more to offer than it meets the eyes, and I appreciate that it has more than 100 murals around the city.
So cool.
And art is so appreciated in my life. It means a lot. It's something that I really enjoy. Whether I like it or not, it's not important. Just the expression. I appreciate artists putting themselves in their true, with a true, authentic voice, and expressing themselves and putting in a very vulnerable spot, because you do get people that do like your art and people that don't. So discovering that as part of the city was very important to me, and sharing it on a live, making a little trail that we went through together was was pretty special. Not to mention that we did speak to Craig McClure, who is
First interview.
First
live interview.
First business that we featured, and it was an amazing conversation. He is a muralist. He is doing that as part of his nature and being an artist, as part of his business at Lighthouse Art. But he was also playing a very important part in the Boone Festival, which is the festival that is celebrating all those artists and organizing the walls that they will be painting and decorating around the city. And it's been, I think, 10 years now that they've been doing that. So it's
even my son,
moment.
one of my 9-year-olds, got the opportunity to help paint one.
Oh, that was so amazing!
Yeah, it was such a quinky dink that it was like at the same time that this was happening. But the biggest highlight of our interview with Craig was really when he explained to us that the cost of getting one of these amazing murals, like if you want a life-size tiger on the side of your building, that costs the same as painting that building.
Can you imagine?
I couldn't believe it. I was literally shocked by that, and actually that got quite a lot of coverage on socials as well, because everyone else's mind is equally as blown as ours. So that was super cool. We introduced our visors that week. It was like the Hype Auntie uniform. And so we ordered a whole heap of them from online, and we've just been exploring and experimenting with different colours. But we wanted something that was kind of like our thing, that made us recognisable, and so when people see a video of ours, it's instantly a Hype Auntie ID, basically. And so as much as it's a little bit weird, and my grown-up kids are like, what are you doing? Well, that was one thing that we added that week. We again tried to get run over on a number of occasions, and actually nearly got backed over by a truck in an alleyway.
Yeah, we did. And we also realized that we really enjoyed the moment for way too long, and the length was not meeting the eyes of our viewers. It was just too long, so we realized that we needed to trim back and to make shorter lives, and just to have the energy a little bit higher.
Yes. We also dropped the camera.
Oh God.
Tripped over.
Oh God.
Fell on our faces.
Oh yes.
Dropped the camera, and then lost sound.
Oh.
But it really proved that having the mics on and having the mics is worth it, because beyond that point, when the mic came off, there was no point in watching the rest of the video. When you were listening to it back, it was like, oh, you can't actually understand anything that was being said. And so I imagine that if anyone was foolish enough to watch the video to that point, they didn't watch past that point. And so it's worth having the mic. So it's a really good evidence point.
I would like to highlight that this is more for an open space, because you do have the special sound. Even if it seems quiet to you, there is a lot of sounds that are captured in the background. But if you have a mic, it just clears all those different sounds that should not be there. But if you're doing it inside, it's not that much of a problem. So you can still use the camera mic, or you can even have the headset and those mics that are coming with it. So there are other solutions. You don't need to have special equipment. But of course, we did wanted to do it in the most challenging way. Going and places,
make it easy.
doing cool stuff, being active, and then tripping over, you know,
just to keep it interesting. Okay, so that was week 2. Week 3, we went to the Helping Gardens and we covered the flower crate on Love Grove Lane. So that's when we first did a time-lapse video. That went really well. We threw a little bit up on LinkedIn that week as well, and so we got some good coverage on LinkedIn as well for the flower crate, which was cool. We really enjoyed going to the gardens, but one of the major lessons we had was that our connectivity was very glitchy that day. So that was a major boo-boo. So we were just getting into the flow of things, and then we'd get a little signal up on the camera, and we'd have heartburn. As we kind of went, okay, we're gone. We're not live anymore.
Oh no, we're back again.
Hello. So a lot of that.
Oh God, it was so random. And also getting into those spaces and getting lost in them, because they're just majestic. It's incredible. I'm seeing all those different the decorations, the flower arrangements, and the entire structures that they would put around it to tell a story. So the storytelling of the gardens is pretty special and magical, and yet it's not easy to tell that story when connectivity cuts you off and then comes back, and when you have a very tiny little portrait that limits the way that you're putting the camera. Not to say that we are most of the camera, so you have only a little bit of space.
Absolutely.
There we go. No, it was, but I really enjoyed that one.
Yes,
I really did.
I think the visual richness of the gardens, it was a beautiful day.
Oh, so appealing.
That you just got so many different, eye-pleasing scenery, and little novelties, like we went through the little kind of cave into the, what's that garden called? I've forgotten what that one is. The Surrealist Garden. As you're kind of going through into that, there's kind of this, this feeling that you can create on camera, all of these kind of fun things. And it just creates interest.
Oh, the tiny door and the big door.
Yeah, there was lots
of
stuff. Who knew? So we did learn that week that things like that have public appeal or recognition, like the big white door in the Surrealist Garden, which is the most photographed thing at the gardens.
Can you imagine?
Really do generate interest online as well. So that was really cool. So just something as simple as like being in front of a big door. Well, I don't even think we did that as a video. We did that as a still photo post.
Yeah, and it still did
really well. So that was really interesting. And
it was so funny because the Surrealist Garden is all about dimensions, and the dimensions are crazy. They're really huge items in there. And I remember the moment you took the camera and you said, just go next to that spade, and I went through the wrong spade because there were two, and I was like, where are you? Where are you?
I was wandering around.
Hey, okay, if I want to say, just to override all the learnings, it's so much fun.
Yes.
We had so much fun together.
We really love
experiences. Yeah.
That's a treat. It really is a treat. And it's forcing us to get out of the house and go do something new every week. So I really enjoy it.
And be creative about the way that a story can be told.
Yeah. And also like completely rolling with it. because whatever the plan is at the beginning of the day is not what's going to happen.
Yeah, we even had a big fun. There was supporting us through our live.
We had someone following us. This kid that had been let loose in the gardens was like following us around and wanted to be in our live. It was super cute.
I also want to have a shout out to the team that stands behind the gardens, because we've been there before, a few days before, for the planning side and just to get our free passes and all the things. They were amazing. They were so helpful, and you can see that they're very passionate about being part of the team, getting those gardens alive. Whichever their role was, they were always so bubbly and full of energy and very helpful.
They are so neat.
And it really made a difference, because it was such a special thing to be part of it and to amplify a story that everyone is so proud of.
It's true. Everyone is so proud of it. And it's such a cool space. I've been there dozens of times.
Yeah.
I still love it. I still get so much out of it.
Absolutely.
So it was really lovely to be able to share that.
Yeah.
Celebrate Earth Day, which was kind of the special
Oh
feature
yes,
that week.
yes. And you still have your terrarium.
I
I did it
do.
last
I have
night. It's amazing.
My terrarium lives, which is quite shocking in my house. But even just doing that process and we had a good week there.
Yeah, and we discovered the flower crate, which is a jewel. It's tucked in a little alleyway, and not everyone knows about it, but everyone should know.
Yes.
So hopefully through our featuring, more people can actually go and discover it for themselves, because it's so diverse.
Yeah.
And the moment that I entered that space, you could see the different parts of my persona coming to life and saying, oh my god, this is so exciting, this is so cool. And it has this, the beauty of nature, but also different items, the self-care kit.
Yeah.
And I remember it was around Easter time, so they had the little hungry bunnies, they call them, and it's like bunnies that hang on a ball, so you put them to decorate your table, and they were so playful, gorgeous, amazing. And I love the idea. I've never seen it before.
There was lots of stuff in there actually that you hadn't seen before.
So many.
So again, like the gardens, Love Grove Lane itself was full of murals and visually appealing things, but also the store itself was as well. So we were just learning, there's just so many angles to take, so much richness to cover. And that was one of our learnings that week, was we had way more footage than we could use for posts through the week.
So difficult to choose.
So difficult to choose. So we missed heaps of cool stuff, because by the time the end of the week comes, we move on to the next business and we move on to the next concept and place. But there was a whole heap of stuff we never got to do. So actually in the next few weeks, we'll probably go back over that footage and reshare and continue to support these businesses for a bit, just to use all of that amazing footage and keep you guys informed as well.
Yeah. And also, as we were choosing the different footage, we were choosing the formats that were novel to us, because we had the curiosity about what would happen if we put the time lapse. Wow, people really like it. Look, there is a good response. We'll keep on doing that. We'll double down on that. Let's see the other formats. So we would put tiles. Maybe it's not as powerful as a video. Okay, let's choose the video instead. So we were playing with the different formats, but we started by week 3, 4, we started really creating different type of visuals and formats, so that we can choose which one do we want to play with. Because we will have one day of filming and that's it. Then whatever you have, this is what you use throughout the week.
Yeah. And I think what was really interesting too was we had division of labour. So Manu's been in charge for the large part for editing and getting the videos ready, and I've been for the large part writing all the posts and all of the copy. So we really were, as we went through this, educating ourselves on both of those things. So I think that was the week that we started to play more with tagging people in that were kind of aligned. And is that as far as we got?
Can you believe it?
been talking for half an hour. We only got to week 2. Week 3.
Okay. But I will add one last highlight of that week, and then we can wrap up the session and we can continue next week. The last thing that I wanted to say is, I just seen in our notes that actually there was a week that we started playing with hashtags.
Yes.
And you're the master of hashtags.
So what you do is you go find the hashtags that have like the most use, and those have followers. And so when you hashtag Hamilton NZ with the gardens, that actually had a massive following. And so it went much further due to the use of those hashtags. So I have read some other stuff that's kind of saying, oh, hashtags don't do anything, but we really did find an increase in our general uptake of our posts when we started to tag in relevant hashtags, like Earth Day, because that was the day that we posted. It really did lift the, or at least that's our perception, it did lift the amount of viewership that we got, which was cool.
Yeah, and the hashtags, you can have specific hashtags that are linked to what you do and your business, but you can have thematic hashtags that go along. So for example, we used the terrarium hashtag, which did really well. Then we had the gardens, which has a really big followership. There are Hamilton. So we were a little bit strategic. If we had to choose 4, which 4 do we want to choose? And you do want to go with the biggest ones. And if you go into Facebook, Facebook does actually a really good job in telling you what is the followership. So if you put the hashtag and the word that you want to put in there, it will tell you how many posts there are connected to it. And which means the higher the number, the more visibility you will get by adding that hashtag into your post. In saying that, you also want to grow your own hashtags. So with this started, growing and working on our hashtag Hype Aunties and the hashtag making local loud.
Yeah, so we have Hype Aunties, making local loud, and hidden gems. Those are the 3 that we've kind of kept as hashtags associated with what we are doing, which has been pretty cool to kind of grow that. But we're still sitting under 1,000 at the moment, which pretty much means it does nothing but build until it's over that point.
We'll get there.
We will get there. Yeah. We're tagging it in everything. But what we really found interesting, just before we do wrap up, is the different viewerships on different channels.
Yes.
So Facebook, much more local viewership, and 80+% women, over 40,
and our age,
over 40. So really interesting. YouTube, much younger audience, sort of 25 to 35, I think, and 80% men, and also much more international. So 12% of our followership is in America, which is super interesting. So we learned a lot around that, and so putting a bigger focus on YouTube just for the viewership doesn't make sense, because if the audience that you're trying to attract is local, Facebook does a much better job of that.
Being strategic about the platform that you choose to present your concept, tell your story. Where will it reach the people that you want to talk to? It's a really interesting and important consideration before even starting anything.
And then, just for fun, on our next week, we actually we added in a slice of TikTok. And actually, TikTok is like a very easy platform to get quite a lot of views on, to get quite a lot of followers on in a really short amount of time. So, have a play with that as well. And you'd be amazed that the audience is actually not that dissimilar to what you thought you would find on Facebook. But they've actually moved over to TikTok because of the short video medium. That's way more popular now, that our attention spans apparently have shrunk to like 8 seconds. So it works on TikTok. So we put almost no effort into TikTok and already have more followers on TikTok than we do on YouTube. I think we posted 4 little videos and had over 1,000 views across those 4 little videos. So
we haven't been active, and actually it's quite Yeah, rewarding.
Yeah, it's actually quite organic. But that's part of our learning is around channels and what channels do we want to be on. I think we have seen that we would like to put more effort into TikTok, but also that Instagram is a major driver of traffic to the businesses we've been supporting. So because we're already on Facebook, it's going to be quite easy for us in the next round to also add Instagram and see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this has been a good catch up.
Yeah,
Good
it's
stuff.
such a pleasure to actually go through all the different learnings and share them with you all so that you can learn with us. And thank you so much for being part of it. Please do follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube so that we can do more, and comment, like, subscribe, interact. This is the beauty of it.
Give us feedback.
Yes, give us feedback, please. We'll take it on board, and yeah.
And if you have a business or you know of a business that could use some Hype Aunties, send them our way. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.